We have to put it together. Our finances are broken. Our spirit is broken. Our faith and our values are broken. And promises have been broken. I have to tell you, it's going to hurt to put it all together. It is. It's going to take a while, and it's going to hurt every single one of us. But in the long term, if we do the right things, we'll be better off for it. We've turned our backs on the Constitution. We've gone for the easy thing. Our country is broken financially. It is broken in spirit, broken in faith, broken in values. And you know it. We're now at a crucial point of reassembling the country. The first part of this book, the first third of this book is, how did we get here? The second part is the crime of the century and the cover-up. The cover-up will blow your mind. If you read Common Sense, this is Common Sense on steroids. And then the last is, what do we do about it? How do we fix it? What's the plan? I have a very different plan than anybody else because I met with experts over the last year and a half. I met with experts, the biggest experts in everything, from law to business to constitution to healthcare, everything. And I said, don't tell me what can be done. Tell me what has to be done. You need to have you have to think out of the box now. Now, there is a plan already in motion to blame the GOP for everything that is about to go wrong. And I have to tell you something. The GOP deserves a lot of the blame. So do the Democrats. So do we, quite frankly. But what's happening now is a setup. It's a setup for the Republicans for failure. It doesn't matter. We as a nation have to decide, are we going to stop the finger pointing at each other and diagnose? I can tell you what the problem has been. Let me finger point to the real problem. It is the progressive ideology. The biggest strategy of this campaign season now is blaming the other party. The other parties are both at fault. But watch what's happening here.
Chet Edwards voted with him to bail out Wall Street.
And he signed a pledge that protected tax breaks for outsourcing.
She's been there 18 years. Oh. They don't know that she is number 4 in leadership.
He wants to repeal Wall Street reform.
She also laid off 30,000 workers at Hewlett-Packard.
Maybe it would be helpful to have someone in Washington, D.C. who's actually created a job.
Here are the facts. Bright voted with Nancy Pelosi over 70% of the time.
Does the Tipton tax sound like a fair tax for your family?
What kind of person votes against fair reenlistment pay for our National Guard?
Coincidence or corruption? You decide.
Do you want to vote? Look, the problems are all the same. But where are the solutions? You'll hear about the short-term solution. You'll talk about extending this package or this, but that's not the way out. The solution proposed by progressives is to spend our way out of debt. As spooky dude George Soros says, we don't need virtues, we need spending and stimulus. Well, we just spent $814 billion on stimulus alone since Barack Obama came into office. We've borrowed $3 trillion. Anyone who uses their noodle knows that doesn't make any sense. Progressives want the Bush tax cuts to expire. According to a Fox News poll, 71% of Americans think raising taxes would be a mistake because it will hurt the economy. Of course it would. How about the biggest tax rate hike in the history of our country? And no one will vote on them. Guarantee you, they'll just expire on December 31st. In order to win this battle and to win the war, you have to spit yourself out of the system. You have to know what you really truly believe in. And don't let them frame the debate between Democrat A and Republican B. There is another option. Whatever you do, whomever you vote for, make sure the person you pull the lever for is someone who believes in the Constitution and is thinking big. I think the thing that I have to do, I think my real calling in life is to try to convince you and your friends that one man does change the world. He does. Think George Bailey from Bedford Falls. I know it's a movie and one that a lot of people say, that's not even, that America was never like that. Whatever. In the movie, one man saved a city. Same thing with Mr. Smith Goes to Washington. Have you watched that movie? Go rent that movie or go buy it on Amazon right now. Watch it with your kids. It's what's going to happen after the election. But if we put enough George Baileys in Washington, and then we follow what they're doing and listen, they'll get a basket of telegrams in the end as well. And our republic will be safe for future generations. We are now within 8 days of the election. Let me remind you of the immortal words of Senator Trent Lott, who said way back in July, this: we don't need a lot of Jim DeMint disciples. As soon as they get here, we need to co-op them. Really? Huh. That's why you need to find people of character. The GOP is at the beginning of going through what the Democrats went through. Remember back in 2004 when the Democrats put the radical Michael Moore in Jimmy Carter's box in the 2004 convention? Remember? And you're like, oh, this is nice. They were using him as fuel. And I said, yeah, that's what you might think you're doing, but it's the other way around. Since that time, the Democratic Party has been eaten in whole by him and his friends. The whole extremist radical left wing has eaten the Democratic Party. The question is, it's going to happen to the GOP. We don't need more people like this in office. Quote, or actually we do need people like this. Quote, I think a lot of Republicans see Americans are coming back to the core principles of the Republican Party that some have tried to say that we're right-wing. But more and more people are realizing that's where they want us to be, right there in the mainstream. His point is this: conservatives outnumber liberals. Conservatives outnumber liberals by 2 to 1 in this country. How come you're the one going, I'm kind of afraid to say anything? 2 to 1. Start acting like it. Now, there are good Republicans out there. Obviously, DeMint is one. I think Michelle Bachmann of Minnesota is one. Jason Chaffetz of Utah. Ted Poe and John Culbertson of Texas. I'm sorry. And the more I name, the more I keep thinking, I'm sorry, guys, for calling you out like this, because now there's the hate on you. Mike Pence of Indiana. Of course, you guys are used to hate. You get it so often. I want you to do this. If you have somebody that you trust, if you live in one of these guys' district, I want you to call their office. I know DeMint and Bachmann have a website where they're saying, these are the guys we want. Call their office. Who do you need? Who do you need? Who do you really want? Who's there? These guys are in trouble. They're in trouble. DeMint and Bachmann are practically pariahs in their own party because they don't play ball. We have to stop sending more lions to Washington. And we have to send a few people to help these guys with tasers. I'm just saying. Tasers? Lions? What? Oh my. Back in a minute. Heroes come in all shapes and sizes. And here is a shape and size you may not expect. This woman is 20-year-old Marisol Garcia. She lives in one of the most violent communities along Mexico's drug-ridden border. She is now the town's new chief of police. She stepped up to the plate for her community. She was sworn in last Wednesday. Her predecessor was gunned down in July 2009, and his head was left outside of the police station just a few days after he disappeared. And after that, there wasn't exactly a stampede for applicants for the job. You know, I was like, she does not carry a weapon. And they only have one police car for the entire staff, and I think only 4 guns. She says the project is simple, based on values and principles and crime prevention in contacts house by house. Over 28,000 people have been murdered in drug-related violence in the past 4 years. 28,000 in Mexico. Yet, this unassuming 20-year-old woman is willing to make the commitment to try to help her community. She has a young daughter. This is the kind of hero that we need to be looking for. This is the kind of hero that will be required by every American. I've asked you before to put pictures of people that you admire on your desk. I framed this today. I think I found another one for my desk. People that I admire. People that say something, make me strive to be a better person. She's asked the people of Mexico for help, donations of money to buy resources, a new squad car, anything necessary to win this war against the drug cartels. I want you to go to foxnews.com/Glenn Beck for more information. Maybe Americans who are always there in times of need can show that we're willing to help a hero like this woman in an admirable battle. Go now. Now, you know I've launched a search for the next George Washington. We're going to have to wait for that one. But I'm also launching tonight a search for the next George Bailey. You've seen It's a Wonderful Life. One man saved a town. He didn't even know he was doing it. I'm looking for the real-life George Bailey or Georgia Bailey. I know they're there. If you have a hero in your community that you think the rest of us should know about that can inspire others, we write to us at becktips@foxnews.com. Put George Bailey in the subject line. Mary, don't you know me? That's becktips@foxnews.com. From New York, we'll see you tomorrow. Good night, America.